Ravens fans, do you want to get your questions on the Baltimore Ravens on a future video? Sounds like something you would enjoy and would be fun, and I want to do, so help me out. Use hashtag Ravens in the comments section along with a question to get featured on an upcoming mailbag. The best Ravens questions we'll put together and do an entire video on. You're watching Baltimore Ravens Rundown by Chat Sports. I am Tom Downey. Today's video is a look at some potential Ravens trade candidates, some of which you guys might like, some of which you might not. Now, remember some of the rules and reasons why players end up getting dealt. Well, you're trying to get value back, which means you got to give up value. You're not going to be able to trade your worst player for a great pick. Not how it works. Sometimes players end up not being schemed. That's a bit more common when there is a new regime. And what I think teams don't do enough of, if you don't want to pay somebody and you can replace him with the stuff you get back in the trade, that's a guy who might end up making some sense. Now, before we dive into my list, subscribe if you have not already for the latest Ravens news, rumors, and updates. Hit that big red button right now. First up on my list, and I think we'll do some cut candidates at some point, and Marcus Peters is one of those guys. Unfortunately, the talented corner missed the entire year due to injury. Quick aside, by the way, the Ravens trading for Marcus Peters, they absolutely won that deal. With the benefit of hindsight, of course, they absolutely fleeced the Rams in that trade. Now we're going to come back to Peters here, but I'm curious. Coming off the injury, as he begins to age with a fairly hefty-ish contract, what is the lowest draft pick that you would take for Marcus Peters? Sound off in the comments section. I'm not sure exactly what the value for Marcus Peters would actually be. He is aging. He's still on the right side of 30, but he's also coming off a fairly significant injury. And corners don't often age that well. And Peters, I do think something has to be done with his contract in some capacity this offseason. He's entering the final year of his extension. Got a $15.5 million cap hit. That's fairly expensive. The team would save $10 million if they cut or traded him. That's a lot of money. And if a new team says we believe in Marcus Peters, we'll give you a premium day 2 pick, and you can, re-sign Anthony Averett for a cheaper deal, maybe that could make some sense for the Ravens and for Peters. So I got 4 more names we're gonna go to here. But first, I want you guys to name a player who you want to trade. This is the pinned comment on today's video. So if the ad break comes here on YouTube, take advantage of it. Head down to that pinned comment and drop a name. Let's talk Marquise Brown now. This one you guys might not like, and I get it. He is coming off a 1,000-yard season. That's always pretty good. It is getting close to decision time, though, for the Browns, or for Brown and the Ravens. Drops and consistency have been an issue. There's no way around it. That continues to be a problem for Marquise Brown and the Ravens, as flashy and promising as he can be overall. Now, Brown is tentatively scheduled to be a free agent after next season, although there is the option to pick up his 5th-year option. That's going to be expensive. Do the Ravens want to do it? So again, with the way the contracts work out, if you're going to get the most value back in a trade, now it's time to do it. Or maybe you just extend Hollywood Brown. He is eligible now for that deal. So what do you think? Do you want to re-sign Hollywood Brown? Y for yes, N for no. Let me know what you guys have to say in the comments. Now, this one is a bit out there, but I kind of want to explain the rationale here. Juwan James, who the Ravens brought in at the beginning, or I should say before, the season of 2021. Now, James did not play this year, but the Ravens never thought he was going to. It was bringing him in for the future. And there's a lot of different routes the Ravens could go with Juwan James. He could start for you next year at right tackle, although you did, of course, end up bringing in you re-signed Patrick McCarry for a couple years. He could be your right tackle starter. Maybe you're worried about Ronnie Stanley when having McCarry as your swing guy. Maybe Stanley's fully healthy in camp, and come cut time, you flip Jawan Jennings for a draft pick. That could certainly be an option as well. Just an idea out there. That's the whole point of this entire video, right? Now, if you want to bet on the NFL, you should do it with the #1 sportsbook out there, BetUS. Chatsports.com/bet. Promo code is chat125. $100 in, they're going to give you an extra $125 for free. What I like to do is parlay a bunch of different picks. I have collapsed as the year's gone on, but I hit 2 early this year, and I'm guaranteed to finish in the black no matter how I bet the rest of the way. Bengals, Titans, I like the under in that one. Packers, -6. I locked in the Bucks, -3. And the Chiefs, -2.5. Follow my bets or fade me with BetUS. Chatsports.com/bet. Promo code is chat125. Let's go to Jaylon Ferguson now. This one I think makes a lot of sense. It might be your most likely trade piece. Ferguson was the 3rd-round pick out of Louisiana Tech a couple of years ago. His rookie year, I would argue, was his best season. 6 tackles for loss, 2.5 sacks, 9 quarterback hits. But as the Ravens have added other edges, they've got Tyus Bowser, of course, banged up. Odafe Owe was very promising in round 1. Veterans like Justin Houston. It brings up the question of what the future is for Jaylon Ferguson. He has not been productive the past 2 years. He's kind of, I think, regressed since his first season, which showed so much promise. And the Ravens have showed they like other guys on their roster. Hell, maybe Dalen Hayes is a piece they like over Ferguson. He is a free agent next offseason. This is the type of guy you could see flipped during the NFL draft. What if the Ravens say we're going to spend a 1st, 2nd, or a 3rd-round pick on an edge? At that point, I wonder if the Ravens get calls about Ferguson. Young pass rushers do often correlate to being possible trade chips. No guarantee. His value's low, but that's the type of guy you should always keep an eye on as a potential trade candidate in the offseason. The last name, bear with me. I will explain it. I would not do it, but let me explain before you yell at me in the comments section. That's Lamar Jackson, the quarterback. It's time to make your decision on the franchise QB. The man I think is the franchise QB in Baltimore. He is now entering the final year of his contract. If you want to pay Lamar Jackson, it is going to be expensive. You're talking around $40 million, give or take a couple $1,000,000 based on the market for other QBs. You're talking, 110 plus million guaranteed. It is going to be a lot of money to pay Lamar Jackson. And at this point, even coming off the down year, you should know if he's your guy or not. And if he is your guy, then you pay him. Don't really care that much what it costs. Can't afford to lose him. You don't want to become Washington, still searching for a franchise QB. Or if you want to go more local, the Browns for all those years. If you don't think he's your guy, there are teams that would give you a lot to acquire Lamar Jackson. I mean, the Giants, Washington, those teams don't have franchise QBs. Denver, they kill you for Lamar. So make your decision. What is it, folks? T for trade him or P for pay him. If you want to operate like a smart organization, which I truly believe the Ravens are, by the way, your smart options are to trade him or pay him now. What you don't want to do is let Lamar Jackson go the route of Dak Prescott, for example. The Cowboys cost themselves millions of dollars per year because they waited way too long to pay Dak and didn't want to pay the market rate. The market is what it is for franchise QBs. It's expensive. Once you have one, pay him, keep extending that deal into the future, and keep the cap hit low as long as he's playing for you, and then deal with ramifications later on when the cap goes up even higher. One reminder here. By the way, Lamar is acting as his own agent, his mother involved as his manager as well. That does kind of complicate things. Maybe you could get a better deal. Maybe it means you don't get a better deal. But if you're the Ravens, I say pay him. It's time to make that decision, though, right now.